So we're live from Silverton Pride.
We're live?
Yeah. It's a live podcast. We're broadcasting all day from Silverton Pride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Was invited here because so many times, like, people that come to these events don't have the opportunity to sort of talk about why it's so important to be here and support.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I heard about what you all are doing, it's like, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Like, because it's one of those unique things that's different and much needed in the community.
Yeah.
So tell us about your organization you work for.
Yeah, we have a nonprofit called Compass Perinatal Family and Community Support. And it's kind of an umbrella that we also have some really awesome programming underneath that. One of them is our Salem Doulas Collective, where we work with folks all the way from conception to maybe the full first year of their baby's life. So that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun work.
So what prompted the decision to go with the collective piece? Because I'm always intrigued by that, because that's such an awesome aspect that's starting to happen more and more. Because, like, one of the things I talk ad nauseum about in this podcast is how important it is to support organizations and community organizations and staying away from, like, the national ones, because it's so much more important. Like, every dollar you invest in your community stays in your community.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the collective piece is kind of following our community doula model, where we are doulas that are serving the communities in which we live and have kind of been a part of. We all have our own sort of specialty and different, like, things that we really lean into, whether that be childbirth education or lactation support, or, you know, those of us who are, like, really passionate about serving queer community and, like, really bringing these different lived experiences and pieces while not expecting everyone to have sort of the same approach. So we're uplifting the different communities that we're serving and uplifting each other, and we're much stronger by being a collective and supporting and collaborating.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have learned on this journey of the podcast, in terms of education in particular, is there's not a lot of focus outside of organizations like yours on parental education and how important it is to be informed. Because, like, a lot of times I know so many people that all of a sudden, I'm a mother now, and there's no education piece, there's no support piece. And so, like, that's huge.
Well, yeah. Well, okay.
Take it away.
Yeah.
Take it away, Bethany. Well, I was just talking to somebody about this, how, you know, earlier on in human history, we had larger families. So maybe the older siblings had seen a lot of their younger siblings get born. They were around the postpartum phase. They saw how the recovery was. They saw what breastfeeding entailed. And we've kind of lost that knowledge. We have smaller families, and people are not exposed to birth and lactation until it's their turn. And they're just supposed to go into it and know what to do and feel good. And that is not the case at all. So a doula kind of comes in and fills that gap and is like, let me tell you what I know. We are knowledge holders, and we are, like, the keepers of stories, which is beautiful. And we're like the advocate in the I was going to say the room, but really in the space, the entire journey. And that's really, really fun. And with the collective piece that you were speaking to, one of the beautiful things is in our model, even though we act as independent business owners and can kind of run our own show, we also have this community of doulas that also take care of us too. So the doula gets the doula, which is really part of sustainability. We're not out here competing, we're working together. And
I just how much more affirming that model is. Because, like, a lot of times, like, my day job, it's sort of sink and swim, right? You get a job and then you're expected to do all this stuff. But when you're in a job where you're helping people, having the reference and having the help of other people that have already been through it is so much more empowering. Because also, it's hard to find information online that you can trust.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, I want to, like, elevate that word of empowerment is such a huge piece of the work that we do as doulas and birth workers. Is, yes, we bring in this lived experience, knowledge, and skill set. And a lot of our work is really just affirming what folks are doing, is trusting their instinct, trusting their own wisdom, and that we're all just out here trying to figure it out.
Yes.
And like being a new parent is crazy. It is so crazy. And just having someone to like see you for what you are going through and also be able to tell you that this is not forever. Like what you're going through right now is a really normal, wild process, and we're going to look back at this together and reflect on it later, and you will see what I see now.
And I really appreciate that sort of the phrase, the normal piece, right? Because if you're going blind, a lot of things that happen with children, you may not think is normal.
Right.
And so you're holding this inside like, oh, there's something wrong here. I don't know what
Totally.
to do. But then you talk to somebody, oh, yeah, that's kids.
Yeah.
And just putting words to the feelings that we have as parents, or even like while we are pregnant and navigating what that feels like and expecting birth to come is it can feel like the happiest time. It can also feel really scary and isolating, and just really affirming folks that that's also okay, and that's that you're it's okay to share that as well.
And so one of the things I appreciate from vendors like yours that come to events like these is because it shows people that are a part of this community that there are companies, organizations like yours that are welcoming and inviting, and how just important it is to be present and letting people know that you're there.
Absolutely. And I think, having a booth like ours at events can sometimes feel like sort of niche. It's like people come by and say, oh, I've already done that, or I'm not pregnant. It's like, yeah, but do you know someone who might be? And it's like, actually, yes. And like, I didn't think about that. Like maybe they'd be interested in having a doula or connecting them to some support. So.
Yeah. Or if you're not pregnant yet.
She's moving the microphone closer to me. Yeah. Well, I want to also speak to the fact that many of us in our doula collective are what we call traditional health workers. So we are THW doulas, which means we have gone through rigorous training and applied for the state registry. So we can now bill like insurances like Oregon Health Plan and other things like Kaiser and MODA and some of our other things. But so the THW bit is really important because it allows folks from marginalized communities, folks that would not otherwise have, maybe they have lack of social support, maybe they have lack of resources, maybe they have barriers to receiving education, maybe they are not comfortable, interacting in the medical system where there is kind of the power dynamics and echelon of providers and patients, and am I even allowed to ask questions, so we get to come alongside those folks, and that's a big piece of what a lot of us do with such passion. Like, let us come and be the one that stands beside you while you feel strong,
Yeah. And it doesn't stop at birth.
No. Yeah, it goes.
I like that about your guys' group.
Yeah. The perinatal period, we talk about that word perinatal is, like Bethany said, we refer to that as conception through to at least 1 year postpartum. And some folks would argue postpartum is many, many years, forever.
That's fair.
Yeah. So really seeing that whole journey as something that we can come alongside folks in. And to be honest, a lot of our educational offerings, we fall short in preparing folks for that huge journey. As we prepare folks really, really well for labor and birth. And that is 1 or 2 or maybe 3 days of your life. And it does shape who you are and how you see yourself as a parent. And it's really, really important in reducing medical intervention, increasing feelings of empowerment. And we have a lot of work to do in shifting how we really prepare folks for the longer journey after that.
Well, it's weird because at some point in society, it was almost shameful to talk about it. And it was one of those things where it's like, it's kind of isolating because, you're not supposed to talk about that kind of stuff. And I'm happy that it's kind of shifting. But I'm curious if it's shifting culturally. Because I would imagine some cultures are still sort of pushing back against having this sort of conversation, and giving that opportunity to give voice within those cultures. It's got to be awesome.
It is. Yeah. I think it's I always tell our new doulas who kind of come in and maybe they don't have confidence yet because they're like, I don't have enough experience. I don't have all of this years and years of attending births like some of y'all do. But I always tell them this is going to be a healing journey for you too, because when you come and you stand beside somebody and tell them that they are strong, there's something in that that makes you believe it about yourself too. It's very infectious. And so it's really beautiful in that way. Yeah. And I hope that that feeling, like we tell people in our childbirth classes when we practice breathing, and it's these intimate little exercises that we do, to remember how that feels. And then how can we replicate that when you go home with you and your partner and with your baby? Remember how that feels. You can do it again. It's really amazing, you know?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but with the doula, that's an at-home birth, right? Sometimes.
Oh, good question.
No, doulas can work with folks wherever they're choosing to give birth. So doulas provide physical and emotional support. We don't do any medical or clinical tasks like a midwife might, but we attend births at hospitals, at freestanding birth centers, and also at home.
That's awesome. And so, what does it take to get a doula?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different avenues you can go, as like Bethany mentioned. For folks who have Oregon Health Plan, OHP Medicaid, they have a benefit that is completely covered to have a doula with them through prenatal and birth and postpartum support. Some folks will pay like out of pocket and go that route or do sliding scale. There's some other insurances we can bill, but like the mechanical piece of it would be you can reach out to our collective, Salem Doulas Collective, doing a search in your area of doulas near me and kind of meeting with a couple different folks. We always like to encourage people to meet with at least 2, maybe 3 doulas to make sure they're getting the right fit. Right. Sometimes we meet with the first doula and we're kind of like, okay, I guess this is what a doula is. And maybe there's a doula out there that is a better fit for you. And we also acknowledge as doulas that like I'm not the right doula for everyone. Like we want to encourage folks to find someone that really feels like a good solid fit for them.
I appreciate that because I say the same thing about mental health providers. Like you don't give up if the first person you seek out as a mental health provider isn't like the best fit, because people are unique and no two people have the same experience. And so trying to sort of give up after your first try, don't do that. Go try again, try a third or fourth time until you find somebody that clicks, because it'll happen. There's enough people out there that you'll find someone.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that too. It matters how the partner or the other support person feels with them too. We come in and we support the entire family. So whether they have a partner or don't have a partner, whether their mom or their best friend is going to be with them, whether they have other kids that want to be involved in this journey, we wrap around the whole family. And that's another special piece of doulas that really, I hope people come to understand. We're there for everybody. Yeah.
And everybody gets a benefit from that participation.
Yes. With especially like in the classes that we teach, for example, we really emphasize how our partner's going to show up in this moment, all the phases and stages of labor. How does their support need to change as the labor progresses and the needs change and the room changes and the feelings change? What we do in early labor is not what we're going to do in transition, for instance. We need to cope differently, and partners need to know where they fit in that space. Otherwise, they can feel a little bit like they get lost in the background. And we want this to be their special day too.
Yeah.
It's their day too.
Yeah.
And that's another special thing about bringing doulas to that space is we amplify their voice.
Which I would imagine, given the circumstance of childbirth, sometimes you lose that voice with all of the discomfort and the pain and being in that medical environment with weird people around you that you don't know.
For sure. Yeah.
Having that one trusted face that sort of works like, I got you.
Yes.
You've been through this.
Yes.
I got you.
And so many times we're saying this, I know it's intense right now, but this is normal.
Yeah.
You're not alone. We're going to be here together through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think people appreciate just how much of an impact that has on the unborn child too.
Yes.
Like, there's that bond between mother and child that the feelings sort of are attached. And like when your mom is having that supportive feeling through childbirth, I would say probably leads a lot to helping that child develop.
Oh, yeah. 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 Our birth stories become part of who we believe we are. It becomes part of our narrative about ourselves. And it also, like Becky said earlier, it impacts that parent-child relationship forever. I have 6 children, for example, and I can look at each one of them, remember their birth story. And for me, it creates a different relationship with them, with each one uniquely, right? It's not a blanket relationship. They're very unique. And part of it is because of how they came to me and what I needed to do to grow to be the parent that they needed, whether in that moment in the birth room or later on. So I think it's lifelong benefits in that way.
Yeah, I would also just add that, say your birth experience does not go the way that you had hoped, and how that can feel traumatic for folks. And doulas can help also support folks in those moments, and certainly postpartum, of processing these stories. Certainly not trying to like change the narrative completely, but helping to elevate maybe the pieces that we're not seeing about ourselves, of the strength that we actually did have to carry through a challenging labor and birth and bring this baby to this world. And maybe really helping to like find some sense of empowerment, even if that wasn't there initially, and kind of shift that narrative for themselves.
Yeah.
Trying to also probably get them away from blaming themselves for something that had nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And offering, perspective, as we can, from our view, we can see more kind of a higher level of like how the care team is operating, and kind of helping to explain medical decision making that might have been happening and might have felt quick or rushed, and kind of helping to reflect back on that. And doula is certainly physical and emotional support. We also have a really good amount of training and understanding of birth physiology and kind of navigating medical interventions. That's a really important skill set that doulas offer, as well as just really kind of seeing how birth, like shared decision making, is happening, and hopefully slowing down that process a bit, so that the person birthing is at the center of that always.
Yeah.
And also acknowledging sometimes that might just not feel possible. Yeah,
especially like if it's traumatic in any way, that prefrontal cortex goes right out the window. And having that person that can have a somewhat rational mind in a time of crisis has got to be very helpful.
Yeah. And because doulas now, we might follow a family for a full year after they give birth. A lot of the processing that they might need to do doesn't happen immediately. It's not in that immediate first week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It's like they need to establish a routine with their baby, learn what this new journey is going to be like now that the baby's here. And then when they come up for air, they can start to actually process things. And we're still there then. We still can come back. We can still say, let's talk about it again. Do you want to look at your photos again? What do you still have questions about? How can we help you put the pieces together? Whether it was a great experience or it went completely sideways, both are really important.
And both are valid.
Yes. Yeah. And very common, So, and it's interesting too, talking about perspective, partners might have a completely different view of what happened versus the birthing person. So acknowledging them again, that they have a story to tell, and we are the listeners. We can listen. That's partly, I think what doulas do best.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it both for you joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
How can people find your organization?
So we are at compassperinatal.com.
And spell perinatal for folks.
So PERINATAL.
Thank you. Because I thought it was a PI at first.
Yeah. So that's that's our nonprofit landing page. And then we have our Salem Doulas Collective. We also have Compass Perinatal peer support groups. So that's peer-led support groups for folks navigating pregnancy and postpartum.
Yeah.
And that's a weekly support group in Salem.
Yeah, and anybody out there, I encourage joining a peer support group. Like, so I'm on the autism spectrum and I facilitate a peer support group every Thursday. And just how much of a difference peer support makes in life. So whatever you're facing, whether that's cancer, childbirth, loss of a parent, or if you're going through something, peer support is so important. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have a grief and loss support group that has come on recently. And then, we offer community childbirth classes. There's lactation support. Lots of different resources that you can run with. So,
well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Happy Pride.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Enjoy the